Good afternoon and welcome to the 4 to 5. We have quite the cast of characters here today. I'm Chad Silber, that's Ben Briscoe, that's Tim Buckley, and that's Amanda Ferguson. Good to have you here.
Musical chairs today.
Yes.
Welcome back to you, sir.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Good to be back. And, both my other, counterparts were like, we don't want to be there on this first day back, so we're not going to be there.
That's true.
So we're here.
Yeah.
Tim, tell us about the weather.
It's a little gloomy, as you know. It's a little rainy, as you know. We've been teasing this warm-up. It is still coming. We'll talk about when it gets here in just a couple minutes.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
But first, we want to talk about a story that is developing this afternoon. Let's get right to it. West Forsyth High School was, quote, on secure lockdown after district officials said the administration confiscated a part of a weapon on campus. We want to take you live to the school with WFMY News 2's Hannah Jeffries. Hannah, what can you tell us about what's going on?
West Forsyth High Schoolers were put on what the school system calls secure status today when administration confiscated an inoperable part of a weapon. The school system says being on secure means get inside and lock the doors. The school system sent out a message to parents saying it got a tip this morning of a potential weapon on school grounds. As they looked into this claim, administration placed the school on secure, insecure, and hold protocol, of course, for safety reasons. With the help of Forsyth County Sheriff's deputies, the school confiscated an inoperable part of a weapon. Lori Wyatt's son goes to the high school. Wyatt encourages fellow parents to be watchful of what they're bringing to school.
It's ridiculous that parents aren't watching their kids and they're able to bring weapons to school. They should keep their eyes open a little bit more and be more wary of what's going on because, people care about their children and they're here to learn and not worry about getting killed.
The sheriff's office expelled rumors of an active shooter situation on campus within a social media post. The office tweeted, contrary to social media rumors, there was not an active shooter or a shooting at West Forsyth High School today. There was no incident and all students and staff are safe. The school was briefly on a secure hold and WS/FCS will release more information. And deputies want to remind people that if they do see something on social media that alleges any type of incident, they encourage them to reach out to officials to verify if this is actually a threat or what's going on in the first place. If people do continue to share those posts and re-disseminate that information, it could potentially spread false information. Live in Forsyth County, I'm Hannah Jeffries, WFMY News 2.
Hannah, thank you. It is important to note there is a difference between the terms secure and lockdown. The school district handbook says secure is used when there's a potential threat that can be avoided by bringing everyone inside and locking outside doors. Activities inside the school can continue as normal. Lockdown is different. It means there's an imminent threat inside or nearby that requires immediate action, requiring all doors both inside and outside to be locked, along with turning off the lights and hiding until first responders arrive.
To be clear, what happened today at West Forsyth was not related to a school shooting. But across the country, there was a shooting at a Denver high school. It happened this morning. Denver police say 2 faculty members were shot by a student, both taken to the hospital. No students were injured. Now, the student suspect is not in custody at this time, but police say they know who the student is and they're looking for him.
There is yet another twist in the saga of the Murdaugh family. Police have now are reopening an investigation into the death of a 19-year-old whose body was found just miles from their property in 2015. They say new evidence uncovered during the Alec Murdaugh investigation led them to take another look at that case.
Nearly 8 years after the body of 19-year-old Stephen Smith was found on a rural South Carolina road, his family says there's a renewed effort to investigate his death and the surrounding circumstances. Smith's mother has believed her son was murdered.
I hope to find the real reason for Stephen's death.
The South Carolina Law Enforcement Division tells CBS News Stephen Smith's death is now considered a homicide. And in a statement, Smith's legal team added that state police will be present and participate in any exhumation of Stephen's body to gather more evidence. Police initially said that in July 2015, Smith was walking to get help after some car trouble when he was killed in a hit and run. However, the responding officer wrote in his initial report, "We see no evidence to suggest the victim was struck by a vehicle." An autopsy report stated Smith suffered blunt force trauma to his head, possibly from the impact of a side view mirror.
It just makes no sense to us that he could be struck in that fashion badly enough to cause his death, and there'd be no vehicle debris of any kind whatsoever.
No suspects were ever named, but rumors swirled that Buster Murdaugh, whose father Alec was convicted of murdering his mother Maggie and brother Paul, was involved after Smith was found around 10 miles from the family's home. Murdaugh publicly addressed the speculation for the first time Monday, saying, "These baseless rumors of my involvement with Stephen and his death are false."
I go by Buster.
Smith's lawyers also said in Tuesday's statement that questions were raised about Smith's death. During the investigation into the murders of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh in 2021, state police reopened Smith's case in June 2021 after discovering new evidence during the double murder investigation.
We don't know what that is, and so we're going to have to petition the court, show facts that would indicate that a fresh set of eyes, a new autopsy, may yield a different conclusion.
And neither Smith's family nor police have ever accused any Murdaugh family members of being involved.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. A North Carolina judge dismissed a lawsuit against a state Methodist church conference. 36 churches filed to leave the Western North Carolina Conference congregation over differences regarding policy about same-sex marriage. Several of the churches looking to disaffiliate are in the triad. In a statement, the church celebrated the judge's decision. It said any congregation wishing to leave the church, it can do so, but it has to follow the protocols in place. In 2019, the United Methodist Church established a process to leave the church, and several other churches have done so. Last year, several churches left another Methodist conference in North Carolina, which covered the eastern part of the state. Honda Jet dropped its lawsuit against a Greensboro jet manufacturer. The company initially accused Jetit of violating a purchase agreement. Honda claims Jetit resold a Honda Jet, which violated the agreement. Honda also claims the company then spoke poorly of Honda. The lawsuit was withdrawn last week by Honda. Both companies are responsible for covering all legal fees. A bill banning pet leasing in North Carolina moved forward in the General Assembly this week. The End Predatory Pet Leasing Act passed its first reading this week. The bill would ban businesses from allowing people to sign monthly contracts to pay for pets, which could then be repossessed if payments aren't made. Anyone who violates the proposal would face a misdemeanor charge. So far, 3 other states have put forth laws to ban pet leasing.
600,000 North Carolinians could soon have expanded health care coverage as Medicaid expansion faces one final hurdle in the North Carolina State House. The amended bill will come back to the State House of Representatives for a vote later today. If it passes final approval, it will head to Governor Cooper's desk, where he will signal that he has signed it into law. If it becomes law, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services says 1 in every 17 people will get more health care benefits. Lawmakers have debated this measure for almost a decade. North Carolina is one of only 11 states that has not yet expanded Medicaid.
There are 39 states, including a number of Republican governors of Republican states, who've actually moved forward with expansion. And I think as the country's moved more to accept expansion, it certainly put more pressure on North Carolina to accept it.
I think you have proposals from the healthcare industry, proposals from members of the House, the Senate, and advocates. So I think people are talking, having good conversations, and I'm optimistic that this session we will finally expand Medicaid.
The state could also receive $1.5 billion in federal funding. At least half of that would be designated for mental health programs.
Governor Cooper says he's hoping to improve child care with a $1 billion investment. It's part of his budget recommendation that would invest in grants for access to affordable early childhood education. It would also prioritize money to make child care more affordable in rural and low-income areas.
The Center for American Progress says 44% of people in North Carolina live in childcare desert, with either no childcare available or not enough options. Larry Burnett is trying to change that here in the Triad. He is the executive director of the Hayes Taylor Memorial YMCA. At Tuesday's City Council meeting, the $1 million request to add a second floor to the YMCA for the Child Care Center received approval. The money is coming from the American Rescue Plan passed during the height of the pandemic.
It does just what we're supposed to be doing with our ARP money, and that's making sure we're serving those that are underserved. And so this will allow our children to be able to have a stellar daycare.
And it was good to see them fighting over who was going to make the motion to approve this, and we're appreciative.
This money will help the Hayes Taylor YMCA go from serving 60 children to 100 at its after-school and summer programs. The YMCA needs to raise a little more money before it can start construction in the fall and hopefully open in the summer of next year.
Let's talk a little bit about your weather today. Certainly not a stellar day outside, but it's also not pouring, right? This is kind of just a little gray and certainly a little showery too as we look outside. Current conditions on our cameras here, you can see of course some clouds, a little bit of drizzle every now and again. Temperatures look like this currently in the low to mid 50s outside. We haven't budged much. Most of the day has all been the same temperature, right around 50 degrees, give or take, some 40s in the foothills too. Noticing on radar here, we're almost at the end of the rain. So anything we would be expecting to see from here on out would just be basically drizzle. Not much else after that. We're already starting to dry in Guilford, Forsyth, and in Alamance County. So once the rain goes away, what do we have left? Well, honestly, I think we have pretty good weather. One thing we'll watch tonight will be maybe a little bit of fog that develops into your Thursday morning. So you could wake up to some clouds, a little bit of fog, but look at this. This is tomorrow afternoon. Temperatures will be in the mid and upper 70s. So it feels like spring. It looks like spring. There will be lots of sun to go along with those temperatures as well. So here's the planner for you for tomorrow. Some fog, as I said, maybe through 9 or 10 in the morning. Otherwise, a beautiful day, but very windy. It'll be a breezy day of weather and temperatures in the upper 70s. Warmest day for us of the month so far. That is until Friday starts to arrive. Take a look at what's going on. We have this warm front that moves north tomorrow. That brings us that 70-degree weather. But by Friday, it even gets a little bit warmer than that. I'm expecting us to be in the low 80s with all that warmth in the Carolinas on your Friday. That should be the warmest that we get. Still, the weekend, though, is looking warm. I have us in the low 70s both days, Saturday and for Sunday. The problem with the forecast would be your Saturday morning and midday. That's when we have a rain chance. That should be out of here by Saturday afternoon. Sunday would be the day to get outside and do something. If not, why not? It's 72 and partly cloudy. Enjoy.
The Federal Reserve will reveal a new move on interest rates today. The Fed's decision comes in the midst of banking failures, a slowing economy, and inflation. Many economists believe the Fed will raise the key benchmark rate a quarter point, which would be the 9th hike in the last year.
High prices and high interest rates are driving up monthly car payments. There's concern another rate hike would further hurt sales. Here are some tricks for navigating the tough car market.
At Lee Auto Mall just outside Portland, Maine, it's been hard to keep cars on the lot. But high sticker prices, fueled by high demand, combined with high interest rates, are making it increasingly challenging for buyers.
We're still seeing very strong demand, but you can feel it that it's slowing down.
Although prices have dipped slightly from historic levels, new cars still come out to nearly $50,000 and used $28,000 on average. Combined with APRs that can be as much as 11%, monthly payments are skyrocketing. 1 in 6 people who have recently financed a new car committed to monthly payments of $1,000 or more, the highest on record.
If rates keep going up and people can't buy cars, it means we won't order more cars.
So it locks up everything.
It does.
Demetrius Thrasher depends on his vehicle to make food deliveries just outside Atlanta. After a crash totaled his previous car last summer, the Navy veteran reluctantly purchased a new one for about $25,000 more than he wanted to spend.
I called around to the other dealerships throughout the state of Georgia, and they were like, we got nothing.
Thrasher says he's now paying about $1,000 a month for his car and has had to defer payments twice. Delinquencies for auto loans 60 days or more past due is up 20% from last year.
Consumers are served a double whammy because car prices are high and interest rates are high.
Jessica Caldwell analyzes auto transactions for Edmunds, a car shopping platform for new and used vehicles. She says there is a bright spot for those looking for a car now.
We are seeing some automakers actually offer incentives, and we haven't seen that in a while.
This is why I'm a believer in keeping your car for as long as you can.
I mean, you see something like that and it doesn't make you even want to go shopping for one.
$1,000? How are people affording that?
It's crazy.
Chad knows I've been needing a new car for a while, but I won't
Needing
get one
or
because
wanting?
kind of both. But I won't get one because of this.
Yeah.
One thing that I've learned, so I lease my vehicle, my parents lease their vehicle, and apparently right now, if you were able to, like once your lease is up, you can actually make a lot of money. So my parents, when their lease was up, there was a sticker price that you had to pay if you wanted to buy it out. They determined the price right when you started the lease.
So buy it and resell it.
So my parents bought out their car and ended up selling it right back to the dealership and made $5,000.
Wow.
Just selling it right back to them. So if you have a lease, you might want to consider something like that.
You can afford a new car for 5 months.
Right, that's true. Yeah, because then you have to buy another one, right? Well, good luck out there. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody. It is not so bad outside right now, if I'm being honest with you. Things have improved from earlier today when we had a good amount of clouds and showers. Right now, things are getting a little bit brighter and we're starting to see an end to the rainfall. So a drier situation coming up for your last half of the afternoon and heading into this evening. We could even get a bump in the temperatures as well if we get a little bit more sun. Temperatures are right now in the low 50s currently. And again, this will be the coolest that we will be for several days. Warmer air is really set to move in pretty quickly. You can see how cool we are in North Carolina. Look at South Carolina, still kind of hanging on to some of the chill, but across the south right now, that is really where you see some of that balmy weather. In the 70s, close to 80, Alabama, Texas, Florida as well. That air is trying to move our way. There's a warm front that you can see on the map. That's part of the reason we're having some of the clouds and showers that we have seen for today. But that front will be on the move overnight tonight into tomorrow. With that cooler air leaving us away, we will see that sun and warm weather for tomorrow. A little bit of fog in the morning, but we should have no problem getting warm by the second half of your Thursday. In fact, by Friday, we should have an easy time getting into the 80s. That'll be the first time we've done it for the month, and really only did it once or twice back in February. With this warmer weather, it'll stick around into the weekend, but we will see that line of showers start to head our way. I think you want to plan for that for your Saturday morning and midday. Saturday afternoon looks all right, and we'll be in the 70s, but as far as the morning goes, that could be a little soggy if you have any Saturday morning plans. Our pollen lately has been in the moderate range, but you can bet it's going to be going up into the high and very high range tomorrow and for Friday. Why? Well, trees like warm weather. They also, when the wind is blowing around, it's going to shake all that pollen out of the trees and send it into the air. So we can expect very high levels of pollen the next couple of afternoons. As far as the weekend goes, if you're worried about your plans, mostly Saturday morning and midday are your shower times. Otherwise, beautiful weather for the weekend.
Today on U Day, we are covering a huge topic here. Coach Shulamont tells us how to find our purpose in life.
If you ever find yourself asking the question, what is my purpose and why am I here? The fastest answer to that question is to ask yourself, what are you passionate about? What makes you angry? And what void in the world do you have the power to fill? Now, I define purpose as this: passion understood which responds to problems observed where struggles are eliminated. You possess answers to the problems which exist around us, and those problems will remain until you answer the call to correct them. Now is not the time to resort to silence when your voice is needed most. Listen, you are that world changer that the world is waiting for. Not everyone will see the problems in this world you see, but because you see it, it is your personal responsibility. You gotta change it. This is Coach Lamont. Make today your best you day. I'll see you tomorrow.
I try to do my best trying to figure out what my purpose in life is. What was I put on this earth to do? And is it what I think that it is?
I've always thought that it's just more than enough to be happy and make other people happy.
Yeah, I mean, that's great.
That is a really good way to look at it, because I'm like you, Chad. I sometimes try to think like way too much about it.
Yeah, and then you constantly have to be evolving too, right? So what you think your purpose is now might not be what you think your purpose is in 5 years. And so I think it's important to always reevaluate who you are and what your purpose is.
It's tough to figure that out sometimes.
I feel like if you just go into every day wanting to make the world a better place, then that's enough. You don't have to have all the answers, as long as you live that general principle.
So don't think too much into it.
Yeah, we need people like Ben.
Yeah, that's right. More positivity in this world. We'll be right back.
Yo, Bradley. Bald Eagle is the baby eaglet checking in once again.
Welcome back to the 4 to 5 on this Wednesday. I'm Chad Silver here with Ben Briscoe, Tim Buckley, and Amanda Ferguson. We are happy that you all are here today.
We are happy to be here.
Yeah. We're all happy that all of us are here, right?
It's a substitute.
I'm happy Chad came back, aren't you?
I'm very happy.
I thought you were going to open up a news tube bureau in
On the
Aruba.
beach, right there.
I could see that happening.
That would be great. And every time I drove past like a Remax or some sort of like a place that sells property,
Yes.
I thought, should I just go in to look?
Right.
You always go in to look.
I
want to know
know.
how much everything costs when I'm on vacation first.
Yep, it would probably be very expensive.
Your daily pina colada report, Chad.
But hey, if you were on the beach, you could avoid all this traffic mess we got to tell you about right now. Take a look at our traffic map. It shows a big crash slowing down traffic. It's right along I-40 West. Near Martin. Right now, the crash is one lane shut down.
All right, let's take a look at this. Ben, I'll take over here real quickly. They have my microphone up. So this traffic map shows a crash slowing down traffic along I-40 West near Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. Right now, the crash has the lane shut down to just a single one. Greensboro police say the crash involves several cars, 3 of them. They say one person is hurt. Investigators are still working to figure out the extent of those injuries. We'll let you know when we learn more.
Well, how about some good news here in Greensboro? Having the ACC and NCAA tournaments here wasn't just a blast for fans and locals and me. It also turned out to be a huge payday for the city. Added up, the economic impact of the tournaments was about $33 million. Spokespeople for the Coliseum say attendance for the NCAA men's basketball tournament was almost 50,000 and close to 100,000 for the ACC men's basketball tournament. For the ACC women's, it was the highest total since 2010 with over 60,000 fans.
I believe it because everywhere I went the last 3 weeks, I met someone from out of town.
Yeah, it's always great when we have people here. And I mean, you've been busy just all over the place.
I have been busy all over the place, and it all started right here in Greensboro with the women's and then the men's, and then we followed Duke.
I'm afraid that I am taking it for granted because I know it's going to be a while before we would even get those 3, the trifecta. Yeah, I'm glad that it worked out well for the city.
It was good to have it back this year, but yeah, I mean, I wish we can have it every year.
Right.
It's a lot of work. It is a lot going on, but
yeah,
it's so fun.
And looking ahead, we will be airing several Sweet 16 games tomorrow and Friday. Games will air here on WFMY from 7 p.m. to midnight on both nights. Our late news will start immediately after.
Punch for Pound Kids is a program right here in Guilford County. It's looking to use the art of boxing to develop leadership skills in teens and deter violence in the triad. Founder Stephen Matthews recently partnered with a high school to expand this program. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey went to learn how it all works.
Yeah, Ben, boxing is much more than just jabs and hooks. It teaches discipline, focus, and leadership. Those are the lessons founder Stephen Matthews plans on bringing to High Point Central High School with their new after-school partnership.
We understand that today a lot of students aren't as excited and encouraged about learning and being here in the school setting. And so coming inside of the schools, 1, to be a support to the student, physically, mentally, socially, emotionally. 2, be a support to how can we encourage the student to get excited about learning and to get excited about their future. 1, good job. Most important punch in boxing?
Starting this semester, there is a new after-school activity that can be found inside the walls of High Point Central.
So building camaraderie, building unity, and cultivating leaders so that, as Principal Haderback could say, we can continue to recruit and transform the student body here at Central. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Bop, bop, bop.
Matthews and High Point Central have come together to provide boxing lessons for students to help transform the attitude of the student body while teaching students life lessons at the same time.
My friend told me about it, and I was like surprised because there's not like boxing in school. I would never expected that. It's here to help us like be better person, like to be champions, like to get good grades.
So after the final school bell rings, the boxing begins, and Principal Mike Hattenbach hopes even more students will get involved.
Yes, it is very interesting, unique, and innovative. But that mentoring and leadership piece, what can these kids do for our other kids in the school? It's not just about the kids that are in this program. It's about the whole school. And that, to me, that's what a true leader is.
It's a team effort to help grow the students of High Point Central, not just physically, but emotionally and intellectually as well.
The growth that I see is discipline, is structure, is confidence, is leadership and character.
P4, bicep! P4, bicep! P4, bicep!
High Point Central is not the only school that Punch for Pounds has partnered with this semester. After the school program began, they also joined at the Point College Prep in Jamestown.
Jalen, did you get in the ring with them?
No, I didn't. I didn't want to hurt about it. I didn't want to hurt about it.
Right.
We
I
need
think
to
it's so
see
cool.
that.
My favorite part was when he said that discipline is such an important aspect of this because, I mean, in any sport, in any way, just learning discipline and in growing intellectually is so important for kids at that age.
Absolutely. And it gives the kids something to aspire to and not only to look forward to throughout the school day, right? You get to the school day, everybody's opinion of school is going to be different as students, right? But when you know there's something at the end of the day that you really, really want to do and that it motivates you to do well during the school day as well and be a good citizen, I think that's the most important part.
Growing up, my grandfather was a Golden Gloves in the Navy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so he tried to train me as a kid, and it is so much harder
It's so
than it
tough.
looks. Yeah.
So I actually taken a couple classes with Steve. It's just the cardio. It's exhausting, man. Just the small muscles that you don't think to work on a daily basis. Boxing works, and you know.
And the next day, like you can't
You're
lift your
so
arms
sore.
up. They're so sore.
And how cool! I mean, every school has football and baseball, but I mean to have boxing, that's really cool.
It's a one of a kind.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Jalen, great story. Thanks. Well, as high schoolers get ready for prom season, 2 local businesses are trying to make it one to remember. Next week, Camille's Closet and Theo's Threads will open their pop-up store at the Four Seasons Town Center. All middle and high school students can shop for a free dress or tuxedo. They invite anyone interested to come and shop or even volunteer.
And check this out, NASCAR All-Star Weekend at North Wilkesboro Speedway is still 2 months away, but it is already giving back to the community. Speedway Children's Charities gave out $40,000 to Wilkes County area nonprofits. The recipient organizations serve hundreds of area children facing challenges ranging from abuse and residential care needs to childhood food insecurity and clothing needs. Some of that money was raised during the first round of the All-Star Weekend ticket sales, which were open to those in a lottery after donating to the charity. The fundraising will continue during All-Star Weekend. There will be a cornhole tournament and the Bootleggers Cup golf tournament, all raising money for Speedway Children's Charities.
When they talked about revamping this, they talked about what a benefit it would be to the communities, the businesses around there, from all the people showing up, but it's great to see this too.
There's a lot going on here at North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Right, you probably saw they tweeted a video, I think it was yesterday or the day before, the Speedway, just talking about how far they've come in a year. And if just a year ago you were to give this understanding that all of this would be happening right now, not a lot of people would believe it because it has happened so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we were there, what was that, almost a year ago for the stock model race. And I mean, that's even changed so much since we've been there.
And I think someone from the sports team went a couple of days ago, right? And, and just seeing some of the developments that have occurred there, but then also seeing all of the work that still has to happen to get to the All-Star
there's
race.
still a lot of work. And we still have 2 months away from it.
Right,
so
absolutely.
we've got some time.
But it's just amazing they had such a vision to know that this could happen.
They're taking full advantage of reviving this track.
That's so cool. I just can't wait. I mean, I'm so excited to see what happens between now and All-Star Weekend, but then also during All-Star Weekend. It's going to be wild.
And it's really good for the community.
Yeah.
Speaking of wild, Tim, this weekend looks pretty wild on that 7-day.
It do indeed. Yes, yes, yes. Let's go racing maybe. 70s, good weather for racing. Rain, not so much. And we're getting rid of the rain right now. You know, it's been a little soggy throughout our Wednesday. The clouds are still with us, but the showers are starting to go away. Temperature currently a little cool, 51 degrees. This will be our coolest day for a while, though. We have warmer weather. It's going to start to move back in to our area. And remember, when we're showing you these maps, it's always hard in March to kind of know, okay, where are we supposed to be? Our average high is 63 degrees. So this is a cooler than average day. Tomorrow will be a much warmer than average day. We'll be about 25 degrees warmer this time tomorrow than we are right now. It's pretty dramatic. Rain was with us, of course, throughout much of the day. It wasn't that bad. It's pretty much ending though. Just some drizzle at the moment, and that's going to be be out of here pretty quickly, and it's not going to come back either. Notice this is moving away from us, going off to the south and to the east. Now we will keep clouds around for this evening, and even tomorrow morning we're likely to have some patchy fog. That could be a little annoying for a couple of hours. It might stick around as long as 9 to 10 o'clock. But look at the afternoon. Breezy, warm, mid to upper 70s. That's the kind of day we honestly haven't had since back in February. So if that's your speed, you get to keep that around for a little while. Upper 70s for tomorrow. Low 80s for Friday. It really is going to be shorts and t-shirt weather for sure, and we're going to keep that around into the weekend to a degree. Take a look at your Saturday forecast. This kind of has an asterisk to it. We'll have some showers with us in the morning and the midday. That could hamper some of your early plans, but the afternoon looks fine, and Sunday looks good too. We could have about 6 hours of wet weather on the weekend. I think that's not so bad.
With the tournament, it's been a rough couple weeks for Carolina fans, but let's rebound with some great basketball news for you today. Star forward Armando Bacot will play again for the Tar Heels next season. He was one of the star players with one more year of eligibility left because of the pandemic. He helped lead the team to the national championship game last year. He returned this year hoping to recapture some of that magic, but the team missed the tournament. He has the most rebounds and double-doubles in school history, and he really brings out the crowds, too.
Amanda, were you surprised by this news?
I mean, look, a couple months ago, he said that this is not why they came back. He came back. This is not why 4 of the 5 starters returned, because they were not doing well. This was after they lost to Wake Forest. And he said he loves this university so much. To see him come back and try to put this team in a better situation, I can see him coming back for that.
Yeah,
he didn't want to leave with this team that didn't even make the tournament.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that all Carolina fans are happy about this. I think it's important for 2 reasons. One, because he's really talented and he has the ability to potentially take this team far, but he's also going to be in a leadership role. I mean, someone who is several years, I don't know if several years older, but years older than a bunch of freshmen who might be coming in, who can help them understand the importance of working hard and dedication and that kind of stuff. And he's been to a national championship game, so he can help guide these guys if they make it that far next year.
I mean, he was big for the team this year, and I think he will also continue to be big for the team next year.
What a leader, too, because he does have the option to do bigger and better things with his own career, but he's saying, I can wait a little bit on that. I want to be here first.
Yeah, and like I said, a couple months ago, he did say that he loves this university, and I think he really wants to represent the brand. So for him to come back, it's huge to he also probably wants to go out in a big way.
Right.
Now they've got to deliver next season. That extra pressure's on.
No pressure. They don't need pressure.
We'll be right back. The grand jury investigating former President Trump is nearly done with its work, but there's no timeline for any announcements. For now, it's a waiting game for the former president and law enforcement bracing for protests.
Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg arrived at a New York courthouse Wednesday, but law enforcement sources tell CBS News the grand jury considering whether to indict former President Donald Trump was told to stay home. The grand jury is looking into allegations Trump may have falsified records to hide campaign finance violations in connection with the 2016 payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Trump, who's running for president in 2024, says the entire investigation is politically motivated.
Our enemies are desperate to stop us.
The former president has called on his supporters to protest. He's also using the case to raise money.
This former president knows how to spin things his way and how to turn something that's straw into gold.
While the wait continues, the former president's plane could be seen being serviced on the tarmac in Florida. The grand jury typically meets on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. It's unclear if it will convene tomorrow. Police are on high alert for the possibility of violence from pro-Trump extremists. There's a heavy police presence outside the courthouse. There are also extra security measures in place in front of Trump Tower. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
The National Park Service and environmental experts say the threats to the Outer Banks are only going to increase as the climate continues to warm up.
The Outer Banks are feeling the effects of rising sea levels. Let's connect the dots. 3 homes have washed away in Rodanthe in the past year. It comes as a new report projects U.S. sea level will rise as much in the next 30 years as it did in the past 100. The National Park Service and environmental experts say the threats to the Outer Banks are only going to increase as the climate continues to warm up. Cape Lookout National Seashore also seeing effects of erosion. Now it's laying out a new system to help break up and reduce the force of incoming waves. The orange cylinders, along with other barriers installed last year, are part of an ongoing effort to protect historic structures on the coast. The device, part of a temporary solution until a dredging project begins in November. Some of the sand removed will be used to build up the beach near the Cape Lookout Lighthouse. All that in hopes North Carolina's popular barrier islands remain for decades to come. And that is connecting the dots.
It's so sad when you see and know the situation they're dealing with out there. You might remember I did a pretty in-depth story on this late last year. And so when they reshore the beach, they're adding sand back to the beach. They call it beach renourishment. They're trying to do it because the like 15 feet of sand wash away every single year. And it costs $10 million a mile to restore a beach. So think about how many miles of beaches there are out there.
A lot.
And right now they're concerned because they're like, well, we have money to do it for the next 10 to 15 years, but we don't know what we're going to do after that.
And that is one of the arguments against climate change efforts to stop and slow climate change. That it's so expensive to make these big changes. But when you start factoring things like that, it adds up fast.
And the Outer Banks, as you know, tourism is the #1 part of their economy out there. So if you don't build up the beaches, the people won't come. They're not going to just go hang out on some rocks and some dunes. I mean, they want to be on the beach, and so they're going to go somewhere else.
And 15 feet a year, that's like 3 years and the whole thing's...
Right.
Yeah.
So what happens in like 10, 15 years?
That's a very good question. Yep. So they're like they said, they've got a plan for the next 10 to 15. They just don't know what they're going to do after that. So, Tim Buckley, I think the idea is to hope and pray that there are no, nor'easters or hurricanes, that kind of stuff, because that makes it even worse.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do, and I think a lot of us, you might go back to the same beach, for example, on a vacation year after year. You see these effects. You talk to the locals out there in our state. We're pretty vulnerable at our coast, especially the Outer Banks. So this is something that is not going away, and it's only going to continue in the next couple of decades, of course. Our day has been cloudy at first, but something I've noticed in the last 10, 15 minutes, we're starting to see some sunshine. Things are getting brighter out here. You can probably see it here in the weather garden right now. We have a little bit of blue sky developing. That is going to warm our temperature up a little bit here as we enjoy our last couple of hours of daylight for today. We're in the 50s though. The warmth is still well to our south. That is a strong warm front that's going to be moving into the area. It'll start really tomorrow. The morning could have a little bit of fog, a little bit of low clouds early on, but after about 10 o'clock, we're all set for a big warm up with lots of sunshine. We should have no problem getting into the 70s. I have us at 77 for tomorrow. And there will be a strong wind as well, about 20 to 25 mile per hour gusts throughout the day. Now Friday will be warmer. We'll be in the 80s there. That is some of the warmest air we've seen in quite a while, and it might be the warmest day of the year so far if we do get up to 82. Take a look at the 7-day. That warmth is sticking around heading into the weekend. There is a blemish though. Saturday morning and midday is that chance to have some rain around here, and it wouldn't be quite as light as it was today. Instead, more moderate showers, maybe even some heavier ones every now and again. But it's just the first half of the day. Saturday afternoon looks fine. Sunday looks perfect to get outside and do whatever you'd like across the Triad. Howdy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4.
There, thank you, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Hundreds of high schoolers were put on secure status today. The school went
It's time for my 2 cents. The birds are chirping, the flowers are blooming, and the sun is setting a lot later than before. Spring has finally arrived, and I'm so excited. Though the coming of spring may mean an increase in pollen and allergies, I believe there are way more positives. Number 1 for me is the later sunset. After working 8 to 10 hours at work, I no longer have to walk out the building into darkness. This time of year, I feel way more comfortable running to the store after work or eating a nice dinner at a restaurant on the patio with friends. Next, I love the seasonal spring produce. Trips to the farmer's market are always a plus. Whether it's apples, asparagus, or pineapples, there's always something tasty to find. Last, just being in the great outdoors is one of the best parts of spring. There are so many beautiful trails in the Triad to take advantage of. If you're not a runner, that's okay too. Try going for a nice stroll a few times throughout the week. Not only is it good for your physical health, it's great for your mental too. As temperatures continue to rise, make it a point to spend some time soaking in the spring breeze. It's sure to help brighten up your day. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
There was another scare today inside a Triad school. Today, deputies say they found a part of a weapon at West Forsyth High School.
This discovery led to rumors online and some tense moments for